That breaking news, the manhunt continues for Grant Hardin. He's a former Northwest Arkansas police chief who's been on the run now for more than a day after escaping from the North Central unit near Calico Rock in North Arkansas. He was serving sentences at the prison for murder and rape when he escaped from custody yesterday afternoon. Now, Hardin believed to be wearing clothing that mimicked law enforcement during his escape. He has deep connections to our area, serving as the chief of police in Gateway, Arkansas, before he was arrested for a deadly shooting in rural Benton County, then linked to a 1997 rape case. He eventually pled guilty to both crimes. We'll have much more on Hardin's ties to our area in just a few moments. First, though, 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is following the manhunt there in Izard County. That's where authorities say Hardin escaped from the North Central unit. Jacob, what's the latest? What are you hearing out there from search teams looking for him?
Yeah, Darren, it's now been over 24 hours since Grant Hardin escaped from that prison in Calico Rock. And I will say that we've been here in Izard County all day and we have seen a heavy police presence. But I'm told that as time goes on, the search area will need to expand.
The search continues.
Checkpoints scattered throughout Izard County Monday as law enforcement personnel look for any sign of Grant Hardin.
Department of Corrections is out there, Arkansas State Police, U.S. Marshals. We've had Fish and Game helping out, local sheriffs, local police departments. Pretty much anyone that can spare some officers.
Photos here from the Arkansas Department of Corrections shows what appears to be Hardin leaving the North Central unit in Calico Rock wearing a makeshift officer's uniform. In 2017, Hardin pleaded guilty to murdering James Appleton near Garfield. And in 2019, he pleaded guilty to the 1997 rape of a Rogers Elementary School teacher, crimes for which he received a combined 80-year sentence. Brand Champion with ADC says search efforts Monday focused mainly in the area near the prison.
We have a K-9 team that's here at this area. We have a lot of different agencies that are from this area that know it a little bit better. We're hoping that plays into our favor.
What was supposed to be a busy Memorial Day for Main Street Calico Rock instead used as a major checkpoint for police.
As far as our businesses being closed, I understand that the other businesses that are normally open were closed because of that, because of the breakout.
Lori Lane works for a local antique shop in the city and says the heavy police presence eases her mind.
It's a little disconcerting, but very rural area. I would have expected somebody would be hiding out in woods, not coming into town.
As the search continues, the Department of Corrections now looking into how Hardin was able to escape.
We've been doing a very meticulous review of all the surveillance footage inside, trying to put together a timeline, trying to even backtrack, a few days, a few weeks, just leading up to see if there's anything that could kind of give some insight into what's going on. But yeah, it's a very thorough investigation right now.
Now, Champion says that internal investigation will also be looking at policy and protocol to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. He also says that the search will continue through the night. In Calico Rock, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. With Hardin's ties to Northwest Arkansas, law enforcement here on high alert. Both of the crimes he is serving prison sentences happened in Benton County. He pled guilty to the deadly 2017 shooting of James Appleton, got a 30-year prison term for that. Prosecutors say the motive still remains unclear. DNA taken during that murder investigation then linked Hardin to a cold case that went unsolved for 20 years. The 1997 rape of a teacher in Rogers. He eventually pled guilty to that crime as well. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer has been taking a look at Grant Hardin's background as a police officer before his arrest. Lauren joining us now from Eureka Springs, where he used to work in law enforcement. Lauren?
Yeah, Grant Hardin's roots run deep in Northwest Arkansas, from Garfield to Gateway to here in Eureka Springs. I spoke with the former chief here who says that Hardin should have never been an officer. Hardin is from Garfield and served as a police officer here in Eureka Springs until he resigned in 1996 after he was told by the then police chief, Earl Hyatt, that he would be fired for lying on a police report. The former chief says he was also an officer in Huntsville. According to Benton County records, records, Hardin served 2 terms as a constable for District 1. He also worked as a correctional officer at the Northwest Arkansas Community Correction Center in Fayetteville. In 2016, Hardin was hired as a police chief in Gateway, a small town between Bentonville and Eureka Springs. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for murder and 50 years for rape, convictions that brought long-awaited justice to the victims and families whose fears have now been reignited. Tonight, we're hearing from the former chief here and the former Benton County prosecutor who led the case against Hardin.
One of the things that the justice system is supposed to give them is closure, right? And when he has escaped from prison, my thought just goes to the reopening of all those wounds.
It was tragic, but not surprising. He was just always a very violent, I guess, excessive person, and had a really bad temper.
Tonight, Pea Ridge police tell us they have increased patrols out of an abundance of caution. If anyone knows anything about Hardin, any information or his whereabouts, they're urged to contact law enforcement. Live in Eureka Springs, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Again, here's another look at a photograph shared by police of Hardin. The photo on the left is Hardin's latest prison mugshot. Photo on the right was from surveillance video taken during his escape. He is described 6 feet tall, weighs 260 pounds. He was wearing clothes designed to mimic law enforcement. It is not, though, an official law enforcement gear. You can find both of those photos and all our coverage on our free 5 News smartphone app, along with any updates on the Manhunt.